Okay, good morning, and good morning. Yes, it's quite early for me. It's only 10 past midnight, and it's start of another little bit of a project. Nothing major. I've got to admit I have done a little bit of the preparatory work already, as you might have seen with the PCB making video. I was making some boards for a little project. It all came about because I wanted to add in an effect into my lighting cluster, and you know, just for sort of disco and band use and what have you. And I decided to build a strobe light system, and I thought, right, okay, no problem. So I was testing various setups, and I was testing them with this particular AG panel, and both of these systems work. Obviously with this one I can switch mains loads if I need to, although at strobe levels the relay would be pretty much arcing out, so wouldn't last very long. The way I would have to do that would be, say, with an SCR, but on DC levels it's sort of much of a muchness. I found it was just as easy to switch direct with this particular board, and as you see, it's a slight modification on the one that I made in the making video, because I found that I'd not got it quite the way I wanted it. The reason this big capacitor's tagged on the end is because I don't know whether I'll be fitting it to the board or to the supply of this type of panel. I actually have another one of these panels brand new, and again, to remote mount the pot. In this case it's remote mounted already. In this one I've put it on the board, but I can just remote mount it. And again, whether I'd need a heatsink on the MOSFET, just to run the heat away from that. You know, the current on this is 2 amps, and this is a 5 or 8 amp rated MOSFET, so well within its limits. Standard 555, and again, I did make a slight mistake on this board, because that's why that resistor's tagged on that end of the diode instead of going through the board, because I made a boo-boo and I actually put everything in a closed loop, which was stupid of me. But hey ho, we do these things, and we make mistakes and we learn from our mistakes. So as it stands, this is a working strobe light system. And I was thinking, well, how am I going to mount this? And let's move all these out of the way. I was thinking, yes, how do I mount it? And I was thinking, well, I could convert, you know, say a spotlight or something. And I was thinking, well, I don't see many spotlights the width of that board. And then I was thinking, I wonder if I could do it with slightly different LEDs. But I actually went out to our local recycling shop, and I found this, which all you can see is probably the reflection. I don't know if I can zoom out any further. Nope, we're out as far as we go. Basically, I don't know if you can see that, it's a 1.2 kilowatt halogen heater lamp in a great big spotlight type case. So what I plan on doing is fitting all of that gubbins into here. As I say, all you can see is the light off the top of the bench at the moment. If I turn that down, you can see it reflected in there. So what I've got to do is I've got to take this apart, get rid of that tube. It's probably a horrendous price tube, but it's of no use to me. You know, strip off the cable and then find somewhere to mount the electronics inside this casing, or possibly if I can shrink it down enough, put it inside this box. As you see, it's got to be cleaned off and everything else at this point in time. But yeah, I thought that was a lucky find, and I may well, sort of strip the paint off of this aluminium housing and respray it as well. But I thought that would be a nice little project, and quite a straightforward one to do, really. Once you've stripped out this gubbins, you're left with an aluminium shell, and it's just a case of mounting the let me see if I've got it to hand. No, I haven't. So if I, just for a size example, that will fit inside here, no problem. And because it's already got the reflective surface on the inside, it will do the dispersion of the light and stay in one compact unit. And yeah, so that's the plans for this little box, and hopefully we'll get that sorted. So that's that little project. And the other thing that happened while I was at the recycling shop, you can hear me rattling away, is I also got this sort of box. I wish I could get that camera further away, but if I open it up, it's a Grundig reel-to-reel tape recorder. It's an old TK14. I haven't at this stage powered it up yet. I know that's probably a silly thing to do. I'm waiting for a box of tapes, which I won off eBay, which are coming. They should be here in the next day or so. And it's just a case of, I'm going to run it up and see how it works, if it works. If it doesn't work, then I've got two choices. Do I repair it, or do I turn it into another amplifier? Because it is actually a valve-based machine. It has a Magic Eye tube in the front. Look, just down here, there's a Magic Eye tube. Let's get it back in there, into focus. And what else has it got? Inside it's got an ECC 83, and it's also got an ECL 86, which is a 4-watt triode pentode, which is sort of like two valves in one. So you could effectively have 3 gain stages and an output stage, single-ended, with a 4-watt output. Obviously it's got a built-in speaker, which means it's got an output transformer as well as an input transformer, so the power supply is adequately catered for. It's just a case of I was wondering, if it's working, I don't particularly want to destroy it. If it's not working, then no harm, no foul, as they say. It's just a case of, as I say, powering it up and seeing what happens. If it is beyond repair inside, as I say, I haven't taken any of the screws out of it yet. I didn't want to start on it until I'd got the tapes, and I was going to run it up on a variac and just make sure that it isn't ready to blow up on me before I sort of commit any time to doing anything with it. But yeah, so that was quite a handy little find, and I'm not quite sure. Is that a switch on and then a tone? I'll have to look through the manual. I have actually got the schematic for it, so I can look through it, and that's how I found the information I've got. Obviously it's got a diode rectifier, there's the output pentode, there's the triode part of the pentode, and there's the front end. At the moment it looks quite wasteful because of the way only half of these tubes is used depending on what the input is. If I was going to use it, if I did strip it down and turn it into an amplifier, I'd pretty much keep the circuit the same, except I would have just one input, and it would go into that half of the tube, then into this half of the tube, and then into the triode part of the pentode. So you'd get your 3 gain stages, and then you'd have your output stage here. I'd probably insert possibly at this point here, or maybe at this point here, I'd insert a tone stack, you know, a bass, middle and treble, or just a simple tone control like it already has, which should be marked on the thing. It might even be that one, because the volume is probably there. Yeah, it's yeah, without looking at this closely and seeing which ones are wired to where. But yeah, you know, that's another little project on the go. And also, just to let's put the case back on this, carrying on with the sort of basic electronics series. Let's just take that away. I'll close the lid up. I looked into some test equipment, and bench is a bit mucky from that light now, isn't it? So let's just turn the bright lights back up again, and get the brush. So we've got to clean up. Carrying on with test equipment, I actually got one of these signal generator kits. Now, I already have one of these myself, and I thought, yes, it was pretty useful, but I didn't actually like it as it came out of the bag, sort of thing. So I did some looking around on YouTube, and there is a chap who's actually developed some modifications for this to make it far more stable and far more usable. So I was going to build this up as a generator, because it does square waves, sine waves and triangle waves. I was going to build it up as a generator, but I was also going to attach a frequency counter to it, made from the simple crystal tester boards, because that has a frequency counter facility. And rather than mount it in its own little plastic case that comes with this, I was thinking of putting it into a separate box, but obviously the first thing to do is to get it working. So that's the other small project that's on the go. So hopefully in the next few days I'm going to make a start on some of these and get some more videos online. But for now, this is the update, and this is what's been going on, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you for some of these projects, and we can carry on from there. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll speak to you soon. See you later. Bye bye.